on the 5-yard line on the south end zone to access
today
the tables
is almost
for
as
our
much
post-game autograph session.
celebratory and
A reminder
ceremonious. The work
that only
has been
Vanderbilt
done,
football
and I
posters
think we've had a
will
really
be
good
allowed
spring.
to be signed
I'm
by
excited
our
about
student
the team we
athletes.
have. We're gonna, there's going to be some roster formation over the next couple weeks here that'll be important, and obviously it's a part of our game now. But these guys have worked really hard. I think we know way more about our team now than we did a year ago. There's a belief internally here that we have a lot of control over what happens to us moving forward, and now it's about just aligning our choices with the team that we want to have, and that'll be in the smallest of behaviors moving forward. But I'm proud of these guys for the work they put in. I'm proud of them for the day they had. I thought it was competitive out here today and physical. I think a lot of times these games become a slop fest. I saw both sides being very intentional and some back and forth. Good to see some young players play as well. So we got out relatively healthy. We'll check in on Ty Bartholomew and see where that is. But otherwise, I think we're going to carry a healthy team in the summer and get back some of those top-end guys that we've limited this spring. So with that, I'm happy to answer questions.
What went into the decision not to play Diego today?
Just there were a few players that we wanted to at least give the option, and really on our end, there's more to lose than to gain. Diego's had a good spring. We've limited him a bunch in scrimmage opportunities. I think getting through the bulk of the work was important, but there was nothing he was going to do today that was going to help us win in the fall. So that was the reason. There were other guys we if I would have had it my way, we wouldn't have played either, but some of the guys just wanted to be out here and play, and so we honored that. And again, I'm happy that we were able to relatively stay healthy.
Yeah, how do you view the rest of the quarterback room coming out of the spring, and how many scholarship quarterbacks do you want starting the year?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk specifics about what that room's going to look like number-wise. Obviously, we're a little heavy at that position right now, so we're going to have some conversations and really look at what that needs to look like, not just for that room, but for our team to be most effective. And we'll get to those conversations, Monday morning. But there were flashes of good play and performance by guys. I thought Blaze really had a strong second part of spring. I think he's proven he can do some things with his legs too. I thought we were going to have one back today. It would be the interception he threw, but we're going to need to give that some more time to solidify. Obviously, we'll add a player in the summer, and with Jack coming in, and there's no reason for us to make a statement about that or make a decision about that right now. I think we have a little bit more clarity on where we are, but we're going to take the summer and fall camp to make sure we have the right guy behind Diego.
Diego was standing back with the coaches during the spring game. Was he helping you out with anything specific?
We just, those guys that aren't participating, and I saw a number of guys doing this, but we want them to be engaged with what we're doing. And for Diego, it wasn't dressed today, so for him to take a role where he's putting his energy to the field and he is a leadership presence for us. That was what that was about. We wanted him paying attention, helping the quarterbacks, and just being engaged in the day, and I appreciate him for doing that.
How active do you anticipate being in the spring portal window, and what do you think would be top positions where you would look to add?
At this point, part of the management of the roster is going to be elimination, because there's still restrictions we're operating under in terms of scholarship numbers and stuff like that. So just that's got to be our first focus. Where do we shape this team to the best we can to make sure it's positioned? The good thing for us is, these decisions are becoming harder and harder. These conversations are becoming harder and harder because there's a lot of engaged guys that are working really hard to be a part of this. I think ultimately we'll see where that nets out. I think you're always obviously looking to strengthen in your skill positions offensively, and I think we've seen some development in our young receivers. We want to make sure that we have tools around the run game that can make it go. Defensively, I think you always are wanting to solidify the middle of your line of scrimmage. We'll get better on our edges in fall camp because we'll get guys back healthy, guys like Corday and Linus, who really didn't do much this spring. But we'll take a look at that interior defensive line. You know, we learned last year that if we're not playing at a high level and coming at the opponent in waves late in the season, it's hard to win. And we'll see where we're at on the edges offensively, and that'll basically, you know, again, offensive line-wise, I feel really good about where we are in our top line. There may be need to solidify depth there. So part of that is just gaps in freshman classes that we need to account for. But we don't need to be real active right now. I think what we need to focus on is the progress we made with the team we have. I'm very proud of the guys we've retained, and like I said, I feel strongly about the team. We don't want to lose the chemistry and lose the environment we've created here. So less is more for us. Maybe surgically a couple of spots. Elimination is going to have to be a part of it, and hopefully no surprises in terms of the courses set for our players.
What did you see out of Jamison Curtis today?
Well, I mean, he's been good all spring. I mean, you know, he's a developmental player. He's reshaped himself through the weight room. I thought he had a great winter, and he's an instinctive linebacker. He's got another year where we can afford him to just be developmental. Obviously, I would love to see him take a big role in special teams, but he's proven some stuff to us that, you know, if we need him, he'll be ready to play. And I think, you know, moving forward, that guy's got a chance to be a really good linebacker for us. You know, we have good depth in that room, and so we want to give him time to develop, and that's the luxury we have right now. But he was certainly impressive, and we're excited about his future in the program.
George or Corey was getting carted off. Is he okay, or did you see what happened?
I'm not aware of what happened to George. You know, he's been dealing with the toe, and it may have flared up on him. I'm not sure, but we'll have more information after this weekend.
What do you make of where Blaze Hurlowitz is in his development, and where you wanted to see him grow still?
I think he made strides this spring. I mean, I'm proud of him for that. You know, and I think he's got to make great decisions with the ball. I think, again, the play I want back for him is the interception. I think that's an opportunity for him just to puncture the defense and, you know, maybe get 3-4 yards and be on schedule. He forces a throw in late to the flat and it's picked off. But, you know, again, learning what I have learned about Blaze is that he will learn through mistakes. So I've seen progress through the spring, and I just need him to continue to do that this summer and in fall camp for him to have a chance to be our number 2. There's so much dynamic elements of Diego's game that we celebrate, but probably one of his greatest skills is his football IQ and the decisions he makes with the ball. And that's why we led the nation last year in turnovers, is because everything channeled through him, and he's very smart with the ball. We need Blaze to grow into that too, because once he does, I think he has the leadership DNA and the big play ability to do what we need him to do in that position.
Thanks, everybody. We'll get the players.
Thanks, guys.